Good evening and welcome back to Mona's Take. I am your host Mona Rose and we're here to talk about everything reality TV. Today's video is going to be a two-parter, I'm sure, because right now it's 9 o'clock my time, which is 7 o'clock the house guest time in the Big Brother house. And I already have exceeded the number of notes that I normally take for one video. So I figure I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. I'm going to make a video part one and then continue watching the live feeds tonight and make a video part two. And this is going to be the aftermath of the renomination. As you know, Amira and Terrence got put up on the block. So the house has erupted. Things are going haywire. Alliances are getting broken. Final twos are at each other's throats. There's a lot going on. So, stay tuned. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. Can't wait to see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Alright, let's get back into it. Now, I am going to be looking at my notes a lot because there is a lot going on. There's a lot of moving parts. So, we'll just get right into it. The first thing we see when the feeds come back on is Indy is freaking out. She is in the bathroom. She is bawling. Monty's in there with her. Joseph's in there with her. Kyle's in there with her. She's saying that she can't do this. It's just too hard. That she feels like she needs to throw up, but she doesn't have anything to throw up because she hasn't been eaten. She's rubbing ice on the back of her neck. She's rubbing ice on her forearms. She's rubbing ice all over her body. They ask if there's anything that they can do for her, and she said she needs salt. Now, what she needed that salt for, I have no idea because she never used it once they got back in there. But then the feed's cut off of her. So I have no idea if it was just the shock of Amira getting put up. It had to have been. But then the feed's cut off. So I don't know whatever came of that. It cuts to Amira, Nicole, Alyssa, Brittany, Michael, and Jasmine. And they're all in the bubble room. Terrence is saying that he's not campaigning against Amira. That he wants everybody to vote him out. And he counts the number that's in the room. And he said, you have 5 votes right here. All you need is 2 more, and I'm sure you can get that. He's like, it's been real, it's been fun, but I'd rather go home over Amira. I don't want her to go home. So then he asked everyone to leave the room so he can talk to Amira. And he tells her, he's like, look, I just did this on a whim. He said, a commercial came on TV, and I said, why the hell not? But this is your passion. You deserve to be here. So I'm going to be campaigning this week for me to go home and you to stay. Amira's crying. He's like, I've had you since day one. He's like, I'm not going to let you down now. I have you now. And he says, it's just better for you to stay in the game over me. He's like, I want you to hold your head up. I want you to fight hard. He's like, you can win this game. And he's just giving her the best pep talk anybody could give her. Jasmine is crying. Michael hugs Terrence before he leaves the room and tells him that he has much respect for him. Terrence tells Amira that she needs to get her head in the game. She needs to quit crying because she's got an HOH to win next week and she needs to get back at it. So it flips from that conversation to a conversation between Daniel and Nicole in the have-not room. Nicole starts right off the bat saying, oh, I knew this was going to happen. I didn't know who was going up, but I knew this was going to happen. It's because of what I said. So immediately she's making it all about her. And she said that Turner asked her this morning if her and Taylor were okay. And she said, yeah, we talked. Basically I just told her we've got a working relationship and that's it. A business relationship and that's it. But that, yeah, we're okay. And that the reason that I stayed away from everybody yesterday before I talked to Taylor is I didn't want their views clouding my judgment. So I had to clear everybody else's thoughts out of my head so I could think for myself. And she's like, and that's what everyone should do in this game, is don't let other people run your game. So she takes that as a sign that that's when Turner got it in his head to backdoor Amira. Little does she know this has been going on since Thursday night. Daniel tells Nicole that he didn't have a clue. And Nicole says that she thinks that Monty knew. Nicole said she's shocked, but that she applauds his movement because that was a very ballsy move and it's something that she would have done. So they immediately start talking about who they're going to vote out. And Nicole says that she started playing everybody else's game, that she's going to play her own game from right now, that she's not throwing any more competitions. She's not doing anything unless it benefits her. And Daniel said, whoa, wait a minute. And she said, well, unless it benefits us. She said, but you wanted Indy out. And when she said it very loudly. And Daniel's like, whoa, stop. And he jumps up and goes to the door to make sure nobody's listening. And she's like, I'm sorry, I just got excited. And he's like, that's my game you're messing with, dude. It's like, you need to be more careful. He tells Nicole that Turner called him in minutes before he made his decision and said, I'm just going to tell you that it's not going to go the way you want. Just as a friend, I don't want you to be blindsided. And Daniel said, I asked who was going up. And he said he wasn't going to tell me, but that he just wanted me to know that it wasn't going to go the way I wanted it to go. Daniel tells her that Joseph's pissed. He said he was in the backyard talking to Turner. And Joseph came out and Turner apologized to Joseph. And Joseph threw his hands up in the air and turned around and walked off. So the leftovers are playing this well. Right now, nobody suspects that he's not working with a larger amount of people. A few people have said, I wonder who he's working with that he would do this, but then it's always brushed off as Turner made this decision on his own. He didn't consult anybody. He didn't talk to anybody. This is a decision that he made based on his own judgment. If you guys don't know Turner's story, he was, from what I can tell, in a very toxic household as a child, that there was domestic abuse, and I'm not sure that there wasn't some physical abuse. So he's taken this as, and he's telling everybody else, I don't want to see Taylor get bullied anymore. Us as a household have to do better. And this is something along the lines of what he said in his speech. So it's kind of like I said the other day, just enough truth in the situation to make it believable. Indy tells Amira that she thinks that it's Daniel that flipped the house and made Amir go up because he didn't want Nicole to go up, because he was protecting Nicole. And Brittany said, I thought they were pretty close, or said, I didn't think they were close. And Indy said, oh yeah, they're close. They're close. I have a feeling he's protecting her. And if he knew, she knew. Indy says that they can't say anything to Michael or Nicole because they're afraid that Michael and Nicole may be leaking information. So they have to keep everything close to themselves. They're planning on meeting up in the have-not room tonight, just the girls that are in the girls' limits, and not to trust anybody else outside that. Kyle comes in, and the first thing Amira asked him is, did you know? Kyle's like, no, I didn't know. I was blindsided. And that's kind of the census with everyone, is they said that everyone looked shocked but Monty. Everyone that's talking is like, did you see the shocked faces? Everybody was just surprised. Turner did this on his own. He's not working with anybody. Taylor and Michael join the conversation. Taylor tells her she knows how she feels, And she said, there's really not anything anybody can say. I know when you're on the block, there's not anything that can be said to make you feel better, and I'm just sorry you're in that situation. Jasmine comes in, and they ask if she talked to Turner. Oh, yeah, I talked to him. And they were like, well, what the hell? She's like, well, I'm not going to say anything about it, but yeah, I talked to him. I found out a lot of good information. I figured it was because Kyle and Brittany were in the room. But little did I know, it was because Indy was in the room, and I'll get back to that later. Amira said that I can't get over these house guests. They really have selective memory. Amira said that she's the one that was telling everyone to quit talking about Taylor. Because evidently that's what Turner used in his speech, was people were coming in my room and they were just talking and saying the most nasty, horrible things about Taylor that you could say about a person. And I just didn't want to add to that. Sorry, I have a mint. I've been coughing a lot. Amira's like, well, I was the one telling everyone to stop talking about Taylor. Really? Give me a break. Jasmine says, he filled me in on a lot of stuff, and I can tell you now that I'm shocked because people that I trusted can't be trusted. And I just can't wrap my mind around it. Jasmine said that it was something that was said when everyone was in the HOH room the last couple of days. The last couple of nights. And that's where the shit hit the fan. Evidently, for Joseph's birthday, everybody, or a majority of the people, were up in the HOH room just talking and hanging out and all that. So Jasmine tells Amira that it was Indy that was up there talking and said something about pouring hot soup on Taylor, when she was mad at Taylor about the whole slop soup thing. And that she knows that it was her that said it because she had said it to her. So when Turner said something about somebody talking about throwing hot soup on Taylor, she knew exactly who it was. She said Indy, and he said yeah, and he said there was two other people, but I'm not, for their game, I'm not going to disclose who those other two people are. Amira said, that's shit. I wasn't the one talking about her. Why am I on the block? I was the one telling everybody to stop talking about her. And the only reason that she didn't go on the block is because she's tied to Alyssa. Jasmine said that Daniel knew and two other people. So they're thinking Daniel knew, Indy knew, and they're pinning the third person as being Nicole. Amira says Daniel didn't talk to her at all today and hasn't come back to the room. Jasmine said, so do you think Nicole knew? They sleep right beside you. Jasmine said she's going to get to the bottom of this no matter what. Jasmine tells Amira that Turner said one person can win this hand with one hand tied behind their back and the other can't. So that right there puts that big target right around Amira's face, because he wouldn't say that about Terrence. So she's got to know now that she is the target for the week. Post-Pack Alliance meets in the bubble room. And just a refresher, that's Michael, Monty, Amira, and Nicole. Kyle was not in there. But Indy was. And they're all talking and they're discussing game. And Alyssa slips up and says something about her and Indy would have been the targets if it weren't for Alyssa, because he wasn't going to put Alyssa up. And of course, Indy's like standing behind her. Who said that? Well, then it dawns on Alyssa that Indy's in the room. And she says, well, it's just somebody that told me that. I can't really say who it was, but I can tell you that you and I would have been the target, but he wasn't going to put me on the block. So Nicole gets pissed. Nicole storms out of the room. And she's headed out to the backyard. Daniel tries to stop her. And she says, just leave me alone. I just need to be by myself. I just need 5 minutes. And she goes out to the hammock. Well, immediately, Amira and Monty follow her. And they sit out there and they have them a good old long conversation. about how Alyssa just screwed up, and Nicole's like, those are my words. Those are my words, she said. That could have screwed my game up. She was standing right there. How could you make such a mistake? This is not the first time she screwed up and slipped up. So they sit out there and they talk for a while. And Alyssa comes out and she apologizes. And Nicole and Monty are just like, you just got to be careful. That's all it is. You got to be careful. I'm sorry. Nicole, Monty, and Amir. Like, that's okay. You just got to be careful from now on. Alyssa apologizes profusely. She's crying. She says, I'm sorry. I've got slot brain. I'm not thinking. I did not mean to do that. I didn't do it intentionally. I would never screw up your game. And they're all like, it's okay. You don't have to keep apologizing. Just be more careful. That's all we ask, is to be more careful. Okay, so the big argument. One of the big arguments. And that's why I'm having to do this in 2 segments, because there's so much going on. Daniel is pissed at Nicole because of the fact that she told him, I need 5 minutes. She goes out to the hammock, and then it's okay for Amira to come out there. And she talks to Amira. And he's like, I'm the one that's had your back this whole time, and you can't talk to me about it. You can't trust me with it, but you can trust Amira and Monty with it. So he's losing his mind to the point that he's crying. He was so pissed. So they go in there and they talk. And he's crying. His feelings are hurt. She tells Daniel that she's sorry, that she just needed to talk to those people because they were in the alliance. And he's like, what alliance? She's like, I told you about Postpac. And he goes, oh, well, I didn't know that was a real thing. So she's like, I needed to give them the heads up and handle that, because that's my game that could get screwed up. Those were my words that came out of my mouth that she repeated. He tells her to stop yelling at him. He's like, stop yelling at me. You want to yell at somebody, go yell at Alyssa, but don't yell at me. And she's like, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt. She keeps apologizing profusely. She tells Daniel that she wants to vote out Amira because she doesn't want to vote out Terrence. She wants to keep him, but that it's going to be hard. And Daniel said, then just do it. What's so hard about it? And she's like, well, we don't have the numbers. So she starts naming everybody off that would supposedly vote for Amira to stay. So they're right in the middle of it, and they're in there and they're going back and forth, and she's reassuring Daniel that he's her number one, and Daniel keeps telling her that this is how it is in real life, that the people that he trusts and that he gives his trust to screw him over, and this is no different than real life. And they go back and forth for a while, and then Alyssa comes in, crying again, apologizing to Nicole. And Nicole's like, I told you, quit apologizing. Just be careful. That's all. I know you didn't do it maliciously. I know that it was a slip up. It happens. Just be more careful. And so then she apologizes to Daniel. And Daniel said, well, it doesn't have anything to do with me, but I appreciate the apology. I mean, he's pissed. He's seen in the kitchen shortly after that talking to Joseph, telling Joseph as much. He wants Amira out. He's telling him about the whole Nicole not talking to him, but talking to them. And he wants her out. About that time, Amira comes in with Nicole. And he said, look, I'm not avoiding you. I've just had a lot going on today. And she goes, oh, no, you're avoiding me, but it's okay. And he's like, no, seriously, I'm not avoiding you. I've had a lot going on. And he's like, do you want to go talk right now? She's like, well, I was going to talk to Nicole. And Daniel's like, see, there's a lot going on. So he goes off in the bathroom. And she goes back to the bedroom with Nicole. And the first thing she asked her was, did you know? Of course, Nicole didn't know. When Amira said, I'm talking to Nicole first, Nicole said, no, you can go talk to Daniel first. And she said, I don't know what I would say. I mean, she's showing that she's pissed. And she's showing that she believes that it's him. While they're having their conversation, Daniel comes in. And he's like, are you mad at me? What did I do? I don't understand. And Amira starts crying. And she's like, I just don't know who's lying to me. Everybody's telling me that they had no clue this was going on. Somebody had to have known. People are lying to me, but I don't know who's lying to me. And I'm just scared. So they comfort each other and do their kumbaya stuff, whatever. And everybody goes back out to the backyard. Now, Amira is watching everybody like a hawk. So, Amira is watching everybody like a hawk. And I'm sure that the conversations tonight are going to be plentiful. I'm sure there's going to be so much more going on. So I decided to break this up into 2 parts. Let me know what you think in the comments. I cannot wait till Wednesday night's episode because all of this aftermath that we're seeing, I want to see the actual ceremony. I want to see the actual scrambling before they turn the feeds back on. And after they turn the feeds off, before the nominations start, or the renoms started, I want to see all that. So I'm super excited about Wednesday night's episode. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to get off here, edit this, watch some more live feeds, and I'll come back tonight probably and do another video once I conclude the nighttime version of this. So, have a good night. See you guys in a little bit. And as always, much love.